Hey guys, this is Marcel with GL, and today we're going to go into the Cosmetology State Board Practical Exam Kit. Now before we dive into this, I just want to get into a quick disclaimer about the contents of our test kit. Our kits are designed as a suggested set of supplies you might need for your practical examination. However, it does not include a mannequin head, a holder, a mannequin hand, curling iron, a blow dryer, or a storage container. Now be sure you purchase those items separately before your test. Now it's super important to remember that each candidate is responsible for what supplies to bring, how to organize them, and how to use them during the practical test. This is a great starting point, but ultimately it's up to you to ensure that you have everything you need. Also, exam requirements can change, so I always recommend checking the latest Candidate Information Bulletin to stay up to date and fully prepared. All right, let's get into the unboxing. Now a quick word about testing agencies. As the making of this video, there are two national standards. This would be the NIC and PSI National. NIC, by the way, stands for National Interstate Council of State Boards of Cosmetology. Wow, that's a mouthful. Now at GL, we prepare our kits following those national standards. These standards are used by most states in the United States. If you don't find a test or a practical test kit for your state, it's most likely because they have their own standards. Now ultimately, it's our goal to have a test made for every state that has practical exams. So the way we organized our kits is basically by tasks. So every task that you will be taking during practical will have their own bag, with a few exceptions. For example, the general supplies is not necessarily a task, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, all of these tasks that you see here are the composition of what might be required in all states. But every state is a little bit different, so it's quite possible that your state will only require a subset of what you see here. To make this easier, you can shop by state on our website. So if you're in Georgia, for example, there's going to be a cos kit for Georgia, and it's going to just have the tasks that are required for that state. So the first bags in our kit will be the general supplies. In fact, they come into two bags, and this will be used for your workstation preparation, your client's preparation. These are not task specific like it says general supplies, so there are items in there that you might need throughout your test. For example, the hand sanitizer or disinfectant wipes. Now, I'm gonna ask Emily, who is behind the camera, to go over each individual items that are in these bags.
Hi everyone, it's Emily behind the scenes. Let's get started with the general supplies bag. Your supplies are going to include, in bag 1, hand sanitizer pump, 2 short capes, an empty water spray bottle labeled water, 24 paper towels, 12 disposable gloves, 3 neck strips, and a hairbrush. And then in bag number 2 is going to include 6 white salon towels, a paper bag labeled items to be disinfected, trash, and soiled linens. And then you'll have 3 trash liners, and then EPA registered germicidal disinfectant wipes.
Now next, you have the thermal curling task. If you're testing under PSI National, this task is going to be most likely combined with the blow dry styling task. In our kit, they will come in 2 separate bags, but you would be using both for that particular situation. The other thing you will need for this task is a curling iron, which is not included, so you'll have to supply your own.
Next we have thermal curling, so that's going to include 2 rat tail combs, 8 double prong hair clips, 3 butterfly hair clips, and 5 temperature test strips in the bag labeled temperature test strips.
The next bag will be hair cutting. You might notice that this includes 2 pair of shears. It's just as a safety, just in case you drop one on the floor, you can still keep going with your test. But you don't want to drop both.
For the hair cutting bag, the supplies will include 5 butterfly hair clips, 2 all-purpose styling combs, 2 pairs of hair cutting shears, and a hair shaper with a guard.
The next bag is chemical waving. This includes everything you're going to need for that portion of your test. Now here's an important tip about this particular product. The simulated lotion, perm lotion here, comes in this dispenser bottle, but you will need to cut the tip before your test. I suggest you do that at home before you go to your actual practical test. But there is a seal underneath this cap. You don't want to remove that before you actually get to your test facility, otherwise it's going to leak all over. So just remember, cut the tip ahead of time. Don't remove this ahead of time.
For chemical waving, the supplies included are 6 butterfly hair clips, 18 cold wave perm rods, 1 rat tail comb, a 24-inch piece of cotton coil, 24 paper end wraps in the bag labeled end papers, and a Cosmock Simulated Waving Lotion.
The next bag is going to be predisposition test, or PD test as it's often called. This is most likely going to be a NIC only task. If you're under PSI National, they just did away with that one altogether.
Next up, for the predisposition test and the strand test, the supplies will include a dye brush, a tint bowl, 2 plastic spatulas, 3 cotton rounds, a rat tail comb, 2 foils, Cosmock Simulated Hair Color, and then finally Cosmock Simulated Skin Cleanser.
The next one is highlighting with foils. I think PSI National calls it just foil highlights. As with all of the other tasks, you will have all your simulated products labeled and ready to go with the tint bowl, the brush, and all that.
Highlighting with foils. So this will be used for the course section 7, highlighting with foils or virgin application with colored simulated product. Those supplies include a pintail foiling comb, 3 plastic duckbill clips, a dye brush, dye and a tint bowl, a plastic spatula, 6 foils, Cosmock Simulated Hair Lightener, and Cosmock Simulated Base Protective Cream.
Next, we're going to have hair color retouch, again with your simulated products in each bag.
Next, for hair color retouch, those supplies will include a rat tail comb, a dye brush, a tint bowl, a plastic spatula, Cosmock Simulated Hair Color, and Cosmock Simulated Base Protective Cream.
Next, we're going to have virgin hair relaxer, same deal, simulated products, your bowl and everything. Now you may see in your CIB they ask for colored simulated product. We've taken care of that. For example, this relaxer product is blue and the other ones will have other colors.
Next, for the virgin hair relaxer, those supplies will include a rat tail comb, a dye brush, a tint bowl, a plastic spatula, Cosmock Simulated Hair Relaxer, and Cosmock Simulated Base Protective Cream.
Next, we're going to have the first aid kit. If you're testing under NIC, this will also be used for your blood exposure task. PSI National do not have a blood exposure task. However, we will include that regardless because it contains a first aid kit.
Next, we have our first aid kit, or the blood exposure procedure. And of course, your first aid kit should be readily accessible during all of your tasks. The supplies for that include 4 disposable gloves, a paper bag labeled trash, 2 reclosable plastic bags labeled blood exposure, a sealed and reclosable bag labeled mini first aid kit, which contains 18 sterile flex fabric bandages with 3 different sizes, 2 packets of antibiotic ointment, 2 sterile alcohol swabs, 2 cleansing towelettes, 6 sterile waterproof bandages, and all of these supplies will be included in a sealed box.
So we just went over all the core tasks or topics. These will most likely be required in all of the states. The next one I'm going to show you are optional tasks, and each state has to pick and choose if they want to test you on that or not. So the first of the optional tasks is basic facial. This one has, again, all of the simulated products, and we've also included additional client drapes, towels, and things you may need that were not part of your prior general supplies bag.
Next, we have the basic facial, and again, it's not required by all states, so check your CIB. The supplies include 2 facial towels in the bags labeled steam towel, a reclosable bag labeled aesthetic wipes, including 14 cotton rounds, 6 4x4 aesthetic wipes, and 2 latex-free cosmetic sponges. Then we have 6 plastic spatulas, a disposable headband, a client drape or shampoo cape, facial exfoliating brush, glycolic fan brush for facial masks, and for the Cosmock Simulated products, we have a facial cleansing cream, a exfoliant, a facial mask cream, a massage cream, a moisturizer, and an astringent.
The next task is blow dry styling. This might again require electrical tool, your blow dryer, for example, that you would have to supply on your own. If you're testing under PSI National, as I mentioned earlier, they combine thermal curling and blow dry styling together. They will be coming in 2 separate bags in this case, and also you'll need your curling iron for this portion of the test.
For blow dry styling, this is going to be for the NIC additional section 11, and it's not required by all states, so make sure to consult your CIB. The supplies include a water spray bottle labeled water, a thermal hairbrush, a styling hairbrush, a vent hairbrush, 4 gator style hair clips, 2 all-purpose styling combs, and a white towel.
The next optional task is hair removal of the eyebrows. If you're other PSI National, they just named that eyebrow tweezing and waxing.
Next, for hair removal of the eyebrows, those supplies include a disposable headband, slant tip tweezers, a reclosable bag labeled clean waxing supplies, which contain 5 small wax strips, 5 small wooden wax applicators, 8 cotton rounds, and 3 plastic spatulas. Then the Gleam Labs all-purpose antiseptic, Cosmock Simulated Soft Wax, and a Cosmock Simulated Post-Epilation product.
The next one is hair removal of the upper lip. Now this task will require an actual wax warmer and hard wax. This is why at the time of purchase of your kit, if your state has this task, you will be offered to purchase a wax warmer and a hard wax. Now if you already have those, you don't need to buy these, but it's going to be offered to you at time of purchase.
For hair removal of the upper lip, those supplies include 4 disposable gloves, a facial towel, a reclosable bag labeled clean waxing supplies, which contain 5 cotton rounds and 3 small wooden wax applicators, a Cosmock Simulated Pre-Epilation Lotion, and then a Cosmock Simulated Post-Epilation Lotion. And then optional supplies you can purchase in addition is an electric wax warmer and then a 5-ounce hard wax.
The next one is manicure and polish. This task has everything that you would need for a manicure service. We've also included additional towels and such. I think PSI calls it basic manicure, and it's quite possible that under PSI National you may not need the actual polish section, but the nail polish will be there just in case. Now this will require a mannequin hand, and again those are sold separately and they will need to be prepared ahead of time.
Then you have the manicure and polish application. Those supplies include a manicure soak bowl, a double-sided nail file, a buffing block, a reclosable bag labeled cotton containing 20 lint-free nail wipes and 3 cotton-tipped applicators, a cuticle pusher and trimmer tool, a manicure brush, a white towel, a Cosmock Simulated Massage Cream, and then for your Gleam Labs products you'll have a cuticle softener, a cuticle oil, a base coat nail lacquer, a top coat nail lacquer, a classic red nail lacquer, and then nail polish remover.
Next we have nail tip application blending. Again, this will require a mannequin hand that you will need to get on your own, and we do sell those just in case.
Then for the nail tip application and blending, your supplies will include a reclosable bag labeled nail glue/tips, including 20 full well assorted nail tips, and Gleam Labs nail glue, then a reclosable bag labeled pre-sanitized implements, which include 2 orange wood sticks, 3 cotton-tipped applicators, a nail clipper, a double-sided nail file, and a buffing block. Then a reclosable bag labeled nail wipes, which include 20 lint-free 2x2 nail wipes, and then a white towel and simulated nail dehydrator.
And the final of the additional tasks is the sculptured nail. PSI National calls this nail enhancement using a form. Essentially, you have everything you need to build acrylic nails. Now, I'd like to mention one thing that's quite important with this particular task. Your kit will come with an odorless monomer. This bottle is factory sealed, and it is a state board requirement that you show up to your test with a factory sealed monomer. It also needs to say odorless. If you don't have a sealed one and it doesn't say odorless, they may not let you test at all. So that's quite important.
And finally, for our last bag, you have sculptured nails. The supplies for that include a flat acrylic nail brush, plastic dapping dish with a lid, a glass dapping dish, a white towel, a reclosable bag labeled nail forms/glue/tips, which include 3 nail forms, 20 assorted nail tips, and Gleam Labs nail glue, then a reclosable bag labeled pre-sanitized implements, which include a manicure brush, a cuticle pusher and trimmer, 2 orange wood sticks, a buffing block, 2 nail files, 3 cotton-tipped applicators, and a nail clipper. And then a reclosable bag labeled nail wipes, which include 20 lint-free 2x2 nail wipes. And then finally a sealed bag, including all of your Gleam Labs products, which include an odorless liquid monomer, a nail prep bonder and pH balancer, an acid-free nail primer, an all-purpose antiseptic, a clear acrylic nail powder, and a cuticle oil.
Now, before we finish, there's a couple things I'd like to go over. I call those pro tips.
Pro tips with Marcel.
First of all, I want you to be getting familiar with your kit way before your day of testing. We will be sending over a kit checklist that details everything that are in each bag. It's quite important that you go through that list and then you make sure that everything is included that nothing is missing and that you know whichever item is in which bags, because you will not be allowed to bring any notes or any checklist to the test site. The other thing that's quite important is that you prepare everything ahead of time for your test. For example, the hair cutting bag that I showed you earlier comes with shears, but those are in their original containers. Well, you're going to need to clip the little attachments from them to make sure they are accessible. You should do all that prep ahead of time. Another example would be your mannequin hand. In the manicure and polish task, for example, you're going to need the artificial nails or the nail tips to be glued on. That can be done or should be done ahead of time. Another very important thing will be your mannequin head. It's important you get a good quality mannequin head. Your proctor will be looking at your mannequin on your day of testing. It's probably not a good idea to bring a used mannequin. I would recommend to bring a brand new one. There are some rules that you will have to follow, and those will be explained in the CIB. Now, fortunately, we offer one such mannequin, and we've specifically designed this for State Board. Her name is Joanne. You can find out on our website. We recommend something good like that. Another very important thing is the CIB. I only have the first page here, but as you know, these can be quite thick. Now, I know nobody likes to read, but you have to go through this entire book before your test. If you went through school, they probably have already explained that to you, but it's quite important. And one more time, you're not going to be allowed to bring this to your test day. You need maybe not to memorize everything, but you need to be familiar with everything that's going to be in your test book. Now, one final thing I'd like to suggest is that you seek professional help to get prepared for your State Board test. This is the culmination of hours and hours of training, and it's a very important day to get your license. And if you went through beauty school, then it's quite likely part of your curriculum to get prepared for State Board. But it's possible that you are on your own. Either you did an apprenticeship or you're transferring from another state. I would recommend that you take a course or at least get together with an instructor. At least get prepared as much as you can before that test day. It's going to remove a lot of that stress. They make it very stressful. I don't know if it's on purpose, but it is a stressful day, and it's quite important that you are prepared as much as you can. With that, I want to thank you for watching. Again, if you like our videos, click the subscribe, click the notification bell so you get advance notice of our videos coming out. Please comment and share this video. It will be great help for us. Good luck on your test, and I hope you choose us for your supplies, and thank you for watching.